Alright, one thing I haven't done yet in this app is push up anything to GitHub. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm in my folder, in my manage.py directory. I'm going to say git status. Notice I got a few changes I need to commit. So I'm going to do git add period to git add all of them, or you can individually add them. And now let's do a git status. They should all be green. Let's do a commit. Pass it a message, and I'm going to say, what do we do here? We created first URL view template process for flashcards app. I need to throw this information in here. And now I need to redo that commit. Okay. So you see it created some stuff. And now I'm going to say git push. Actually, let me look at the remotes here. Git remote dash v. Alright, so they're called origin. Okay. So my remotes are called origin, so I'm going to do git remote, git push origin master. And that's how everything is pushed up to GitHub. So pretty much at the end of any time that you complete work on your project, you're going to want to push all your changes up to GitHub. And vice versa, anytime you begin work on it, you want to do a git pull. I hope if I spelled it right. Git pull origin master. Okay, it says I'm up to date, so I have the most up to date branch. So good to go. Alright, so now that that's done, and I'll be going through that at for the rest of these videos. I'll be pushing and pulling up to GitHub a lot. Alright, so what do we need to do in this video? So how about last video we kind of did this flashcard app, or this flashcard URL view template process, and let's expand this. I'm going to close all these tabs. Let's expand this view here for the listall.html so it includes our list of flashcards. And what I really kind of just want to have is an unordered list right here. I want to have a list item, which is going to have the name of the card, so we'll just say the card. And then each card is also going to have its own little unordered list inside of it, with a front and a back. Alright, let's see how this looks. So let's make sure our server is running. So python3 manage.py run server. And let's open this guy and refresh it. So that's how each card is going to look. Name of the card, the front of it, the back of it. It's pretty simple, but it's something for now. Let's go into our shell. So python3, close out of your server, go to python3 manage.py shell, and remember, we're going to import our card model. Where is that again? Well, it's in the flashcards app, so from flashcards, .models, the actual Python file it's in. I'm going to import card. And do you remember how we could list out all the cards in the card database, how we can get that query set of all the cards? Query the card set. So card.objects.all. Alright, there's two cards in here. Each one of them has a front and a back. So because we can do this, we can call these objects, or excuse me, we can call these methods and get these query sets. We can iterate over query sets. This becomes very powerful because we can use them in our template. So I'm going to copy this same exact card.objects.all. Copy that. Let's close our browser or our shell. Let's fire up the server again. Now, remember that, let's go into flashcards, go into the views.py file. Remember how we said this context was an empty dictionary? and we could pass variables to our template using that. Well, let's see how powerful that becomes. So I want to get that card set again. So in my view, I need to import it. So from .models, import card. I'm not gonna wonder if Django's gonna like that syntax. So manage.py check. Yeah, no problem. Import card. So I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna paste that same exact query we use in the shell, card.objects.all, and I'm gonna call it card list is equal to card.objects.all. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that into our context. Remember, the dictionaries are a key value pair, and my key is always going to be a string, and this time I want it to be, we'll just call it cards, and the value is going to be card list. So I can actually pass this entire query set that we return from here into the template by using this context dictionary. So how does that become powerful? Well, I can access it using this key. So let's see how that looks. Let's come over here and let's just type cards down here at the bottom. Let's open up our browser here, refresh that. So there's our query set. All right. So when you're accessing context variables, you use 2 curly braces. When you're actually trying to write some type of Python code or some Django template code, you use a curly brace and a %. All right, so let's replace this with our card set data. So how's that going to work? Well, we know each one of these sections right here is kind of independent. So each card should have a list item, which is kind of like the header. And inside that list item is another unordered list with the front and back. So if we have the same exact structure over all sorts of our cards, we can easily use a loop. So I'm going to say for card in cards, and this cards is referring to this cards variable that we pass in the context. I can still access those context variables even when I use this curly brace and % syntax. So for card in cards, and let's end our for loop. And for. This is a little different syntax than you may be used to for Python. And I'm going to say card. And then I'm going to say card.front. Card.back. Alright, so for card and card, this card should print out the string representation. Also kind of like the title. And then it should print out a card.front, or the front of the card as a list item, and the back of a card as a list item, all grouped in its own unordered list underneath the card. So let's see that. Voila, our first card wasn't that fun. So here's our, wasn't that fun. There's our front, there's our back. We can do all these changes as we need to. Boom. Alright, so let's go ahead and add a couple more cards and just see that happen. So fire up your shell, close your server, fire up your shell again from Python manage.py shell. Remember, from flashcards.models import card. Let's create a new card, and we're going to say the front is going to equal to how do you pass variables from a view to a template. From a view to a template. And let's just say data. That's a better term, because you can pass more than just variables. So how do you pass data from a view to a template? And then our back, use the context dictionary. Alright, and remember, we need to actually call the save function on a card before it's pushed to the database, so c.save. So now let's make another one. And actually let's do card.objects.all to make sure that that pushed to the database. It did, it's right there. Let's make one more. C is going to equal to, it's a new card. The front is going to be, what is the what is the command to list all the cards in the card model. Back is going to equal, yeah, we just did it, card.objects.all. Owner, alright, c.save, and let's list here again, card.objects.all, there it is. Cool, so we just added 2 more cards. Let's run our server. And refresh. Bam, there they are. Awesome. So that's how you list some stuff out in Django using your view and using those same exact commands that we use in the shell. That's why that shell is so awesome, because we can test out all our commands, make sure they're running correctly, make sure they're returning the data we want, and then just essentially copy and paste it over into the view and then pass it into the context using a keyword value. And then in our template, accessing and iterating over those query sets, or just, you know, printing out the values of variables, whatever you want to do.